Is oil breaking higher? Let's take a trader view this September 2023. Hello, this is Chart GPT today. We always like to try to look at different markets that look like they're breaking out here on the chart view. A little bit of a trader view here, but let's take a look first at the fundamentals of oil, what's currently happening in the market this early September 2023. Probably the big thing on the news here in terms of specifics on the supply demand is the Saudi crude exports have been plunging. They've been trying to cut production there to keep prices higher, which is quite interesting. If you take a look at the U.S. side alone, the oil stocks had been running a little bit higher than normal. You see the white line there is kind of the typical profile, and it has been doing pretty well. So oil has been coming off here a little bit. But now recently the supplies are now below trend line, so this is what's kind of giving a little bit of lift to the oil on the positive side. Take a look at the global, and oil is fungible in terms of not just U.S. prices but around the world. It's traded somewhat. There is something to be somewhat separation between the U.S. markets and European markets. But nevertheless, if you take a look at the OPEC, recent OPEC, it puts the oil production on the OPEC has been rising a little bit here recently, but the supply is somewhere around 101 million barrels per day. So you can take a look at there. I put that in the purple box, and then you look at the supply, the world supply. You see the different breakdowns. It's about 102. So there's a little bit more supply, but it's pretty much in balance. So, but that's fairly typical. I mean, these oil cartels like to keep things in balance. So let's take it specifically in terms of the U.S. side. Here's a chart that shows the daily consumption, which is around the 20 million barrels is what we typically produce and consume in the U.S. So it's fairly in line. So there's no real reason for the market to be going up. And as far as on the negative side, they had a recent jobs report, and the jobs report was fairly negative. So this presents us as an interesting situation. What are the positives and what are the negatives going into the oil market at this time? Well, on the positive side, people are believing that with the poor jobs report, they believe that perhaps the Fed will cut rates and the free money is coming, and that will lead to inflation, which will be oil positive. Better growth, I'm not sure that's a good one. But the other thing is the black swan events with the geopolitical events going around the world with the Ukraine situation. So these are the upside price risk. To the downside, poor growth is there, because if you have poor growth, people don't need oil so much because there's not much growth there. So there's been predictions that growth is actually waiting. Higher interest rates just feeds into that, because the higher interest rates are causing that poor growth. So a lot of it will determine the Fed. And mild temperatures, I suppose some people think that we may have mild temperatures, but on the other hand, it may be unmild temperatures. So those are the kind of the factors there. Looking at specific from a trading view, we can see that we just recently broke this 84 area. We'd had to come off because of the higher supply here, and it's been kind of in the doldrums here over the last since the beginning of 2023. But we recently just broke higher over this 84 level. And the prediction here is that we might head to the 92, 93 area, and then where this last resistance area, and then bounce off. From there, we'll have to decide, with the economy being somewhat negative, it might just flatten out there and plateau. But if the economy and the Fed begins to ease up on interest rates, that might push it on higher up to the 100 level. So right now we're looking at oil to maybe head to the 93, 94 area, stall, and see where we go from there, depending on what the Fed will do. Anyway, we asked the AI what are the factors that make these oil prices go up and down, and take a look at that and give us your opinion in the polling. Is oil going significantly higher, even over the 94 area, or is the economy weakening and maybe a pull back on the Fed, with Fed interest rates staying higher? Give us your opinion on the direction of oil there. Don't forget to subscribe.